entertainment can drive revenue. So tell if somebody has to go to board and convince, okay, that this is how we are going to do it. This is how we're going to build a content machine. How would you convince and tell those people to okay, come along and this is the ROI of this thing? So what are your thoughts about that?
Hmm. Well, I mean, it's a pretty loaded conversation, I believe. I think there's a lot that goes into it, but one thing I would say is that, like with anything else, like you have to like there's a balance, right? Like marketers have this like knack for doing the whole this versus that thing, SEO versus PPC, and you know outbound versus inbound, and good web design versus good web copy, and it goes on and on. Like we've always like pit things against one another, whereas like the answer is always like freaking both. Like, what do you mean like a balance? Like, why are we talking about good design versus good web copy? Like, let's do both, guys. And so um I think when it comes to the entertainment aspect, it's just that's usually from people that are on the fence or from the people that are on the outside looking in. This is usually their first like, and like when I see like people on LinkedIn, right? In the early days, like before Hockey Stack, right? When it was just the theory days, just B2B marketing shouldn't be boring and this and that. The main complaint that I would hear is like, oh, it was always pitting entertaining content against informative content. That was the argument was always just rooted in this. It was just like, then no, you don't understand. B2B needs to be boring. We're not selling, Cheetos. We're selling a software that has to it's complicated. So we have to explain all of these things. Like, no shit, man. Like, who said you didn't? You know what I mean? Like, all we're saying is to achieve a balance of both, right? Like, for example, when I talk about content, I gave a presentation at Golden Hour 2 weeks ago on creating a collection of shows, right? One of the parts was about the nature of content. Before we get into anything, we're talking about the nature of your content. And to simplify it, there's straightforward content that is you're just presenting your insights. Think of like your blog posts, your podcast episodes, your LinkedIn text posts, your talking head posts. There's that, your straightforward content. And then there's your conceptual content. Can you dashboard it shows and your funny commercials and your songs about your product, right? There's both. Like you have to achieve a balance of both. To further simplify it even more, I feel like straightforward content helps you get what you're trying to communicate out there. It just get it out there, get the information out there. And then your conceptual content, it makes that message stick and more memorable and easier to recall in a relevant situation.